Today our guest is the director of Media Rights Institute, Rashid Hajili. Today our theme is related with the physical harassment and lawsuits against media representatives. You are conducting monitoring researchers regarding media. What can you say about physical harassments against the journalists and criminal investigations on these cases? How many people were arrested or punished? There have been nearly 350 cases regarding physical harassments against journalists, and since 2003. This mainly happened in mass meetings. There were very few investigations on this case. It's interesting that only 3 of these cases were investigated to the end and solved, and those who were guilty were brought to justice. This was a statistic regarding physical pressure, and 8 lawsuits are filed against journalists regarding defamation. I have not exact number on this, but nearly 15 or 20 lawsuits regarding journalists are heard every month. How many times were the journalists, mass media outlets fined? The total amount of the demanded funds in the lawsuits were over 1 million manats, but not all of them were fulfilled. According to the fulfilled lawsuits, the total amount of fines didn't exceed 100,000 manats, but this is a high number for journalists. But the biggest fine in recent times is the lawsuit against Avaz Zeynallı, editor-in-chief of Khural newspaper. He was fined in the amount of 10,000 manats, and the Court of Appeals approved it, unfortunately. What about criminal cases? A lot of criminal cases in Azerbaijan are solved to the end, but the cases against journalists are not solved. For example, journalist Emir Hüseyinov, editor-in-chief of Monitor Journal, hasn't been solved yet. You are right. We are following, we follow every year the government's report regarding criminal cases. According to the report, 95% of the criminal cases are solved. But on the other side, only 3 of 350 cases regarding journalists have been solved, and I must say that these 3 cases were solved because the 3 journalists were operating in the government's TV channels. One of them was Sahir Karimli, who was beaten in Msavat party's headquarters in 2003, and the persons beating them were punished. And when Public TV was created, there was a conflict between Public TV and the Aynus TV channel. When a Public TV journalist went to a factory claimed to be to Aynus TV channel's head, the journalists were detained by the guards of the factory. Then the guards were punished, and the criminal case was solved. Now I want to mention another fact happening to me. In 1996, there was a mass meeting led by Nimet Perahlı. I was passing away when a civil plainclothes persons approached me and started to beat me. I managed to run away from them, but they again caught and beat me. Later I found them and filed a lawsuit against them, but each time the lawsuit was rejected, not fulfilled. Then I began to receive threatening calls from unknown men, and I saw that I filed the lawsuit 4 times, but each time they were rejected. I saw that there will be no result, and I stopped struggling. Now let's speak on another problem. Who generally files lawsuits against journalists? Are they businessmen, ordinary citizens, or high-ranked officials? Who are they? Mostly these are high-ranked officials who file lawsuits against journalists regarding slanders. Who, for example? For example, Supreme Court upheld the decision on the lawsuit against Ayub Karim, the editor-in-chief of family newspaper, and he was punished. Then there are cases of Serdar Al-Bali and Farmaz Navzoğlu who were imprisoned to 3 and 4 months of imprisonment relatively. The plaintiff in the first case was a person named Tahmasib Navzoğlu, and the plaintiffs in the second case, in the case of Farmaz Navzoğlu, was the leaders of Interior Ministry. Farmaz Navzoğlu had just criticized the interior troops. And you know that the lawsuit against Avazinoglu was filed by Ramiz Mehdiyev. You know, all the plaintiffs here are high-ranked officials, state officials. Do these lawsuits aim to silence journalists, independent media, or against freedom of expression? Mainly, journalists facing these restrictions, these lawsuits, are those who criticize government structures, government agencies. Journalists are carrying out public activity. This is an activity consuming public interest. It means that these all are against the freedom of expression. Why isn't Ilmar Sener's mother solved? You know that regarding the terror action happened in the Azerbaijan State Oil Academy, Armenian citizen Kumashian was found guilty and was detained near the Armenian borders. But why the murderers of Ilmar Senov are not searched via Interpol? You should ask this question to law enforcement agencies, but of course they cannot give clear explanation about this case. You know, this is a very unclear case. These are signs of dark instances in this criminal case. This year is the year of elections. In every election year, the number of pressures against journalists increase. How do you foresee these elections? It depends on the election campaigns. If the election campaigns are carried out in an active way, then the journalists will be active, and there will be legal problems regarding it. But if the campaigns become passive, then the journalists will have little work. Thank you for coming to our studio today. Our guest was the director of Media Rights Institute, Rashid Hajili.